For most of us, the idea of angels and demons feels pretty straightforward. Angels are God's messengers, demons are fallen angels, that's that, right? But what if I told you that historically and verifiably, the earliest believers saw things very differently? Some believed angels walked among us in human form. Others thought demons weren't fallen angels at all, but were something stranger. In some Christian texts, they describe angelic encounters that weren't always so heavenly. So let's break this down. Most of what we know about angels and demons comes from tradition, not directly from biblical definitions. The Bible never gives a crystal clear definition of what an angel or a demon actually is, only what they do. In Hebrew, malach just means messenger. It doesn't automatically mean glowing wings and white robes and all that stuff that tradition has put in our brain. And in Greek, angelos means the same, just a messenger from God. But demons, that word doesn't even come from Christianity originally. It comes from the Greek word daimon, which could mean a lesser divine spirit, an ancestral being, or even a force of fate. So where did the idea of demons as fallen angels actually come from? Well, if you grew up in church, you were probably taught that demons are just fallen angels who followed Satan in rebellion. But here's the thing. The Bible never actually quite says that. What it does say is demons exist, Jesus cast them out of people, and they influence the world. But their origin story, that's where things get a little interesting. Because this fallen angel idea, it developed over time, and it pulls from three major sources. The first is the book of Enoch, and that ancient Jewish text, which many early Christians did read, claimed that certain angels, called the Watchers, left heaven, took human wives, and fathered the Nephilim, and that's in Genesis 6. And when these Nephilim died, their spirits became demons. And you can find this text right here in the complete 100 Book Apocrypha, which any person seriously interested in Christian history should take a look at it. Is this stuff gospel truth? No, they're apocryphal works. But people interested in Christian history do need to take a look at them. And then there's Hellenistic Greek thought, because in Greek culture, daemons could be good or bad, more like supernatural influencers than fallen angels. And then there was early Christian interpretation. By the 2nd and 4th centuries, church fathers like Origen and Augustine, they started blending these ideas together, using verses like Revelation 12:9, where Satan and his angels are cast down, to explain where demons came from. So over time, what started as separate ideas from many different Semitic and Mediterranean cultures became one dominant teaching. But in Jesus' time, that belief had not been fully formed yet. In this world of angels and demons and divine beings, it's a lot more complex than most Christians believe. Take, for instance, a very wild story that doesn't get covered much on church Sundays because of the questions that come from it. In 1 Kings 22, the prophet Micaiah has a vision of God holding a divine council. And in this council, God asks, who will go and deceive King Ahab so that he will fall in battle? And one spirit steps forward and says, I will go and be a lying spirit in the mouths of his prophets. And God authorizes it. Wait, a spirit, what some would call angelic, is sent to deceive? What about when God sends spirits to torment Saul? What about the angel of death that takes the lives of the firstborn of Egypt? These stories challenge the modern assumption that all heavenly beings work in simple categories of good or evil. Early Christians wrestled with this too. Some believed that angels had specific roles, and sometimes these roles looked different than what we expect in modern times. And when talking about angels and demons, you must discuss one of the most fascinating ancient texts, the Book of Jubilees, written around 200 BC. Also available in the complete 100 Book Apocrypha. It tells a story about what happened after the flood, when Noah prayed because demons went right back to corrupting humanity. So God, because of Noah's prayers, decides to banish them. But then Mastema, a mysterious angelic figure often compared to Satan, speaks up and says, let me keep some of them. They help test humanity. And God agrees, allowing 1/10 of the demons to stay. Now think about that. According to this text, demonic forces were allowed to continue operating as a test for humanity. And this idea, although this book was not even close to canonization, was very influential among early Christians, far more than what most people realize today. And by the medieval period, Christian mystics weren't just theorizing about angels and demons, They were claiming to interact with them. The Kabbalistic texts of the 13th century describe 72 angelic intelligences, each with a specific divine purpose. Meanwhile, Christian monks and mystics warn that not every supernatural experience was from God. Hildegard of Bingen, a Christian mystic from the 12th century, wrote about visions of radiant beings that tested and challenged people. And the Book of Raziel, which is a medieval text, claimed that some angels whispered divine knowledge, while others misled. So, there is a deep, deep history of angels and demons. Questions that believers have wrestled with for centuries. And we have to confront the idea that our views of angels and demons have shifted a lot over time. So what else might we be missing? What did the earliest believers know that we've forgotten? And could supernatural experiences be more complex than what we've been told? This is exactly what we're diving into on May 10th in my live, almost 3-hour workshop, Angels and Demons, Their Past and Your Future. And we're going way deeper into the history and mystery than you've ever been before. We're going to unpack the biblical and apocryphal texts that shape ancient beliefs, the origins of demonology and angelology, and how many ancient Christian traditions hold clues for us today. And this workshop's available by donation only, with all proceeds going to our Awake to Dream nonprofit project in Puerto Rico, addressing food insecurity and natural disaster preparedness in a region where over 50% of people live below the poverty line. I am so excited to discuss the beauty and the power of the angelic and the wild craziness of the demonic, according to ancient biblical and historical texts, history and mystery. God bless. You're loved. See you soon.